Hi, this is Michael with Peace and Favor. Thanks for joining me for another episode. Today's topic is going to be fatherhood. So the topic of fatherhood actually was suggested by my nephews. And it actually, I think it's a wonderful thing to talk about because we often mention to our young men, warning them about not getting, the girls pregnant and being careful, the consequences for your actions, etc., and taking responsibility for your actions. But what happens if you do get a young lady pregnant? What is your role? What's the role of a father? And when it comes to fatherhood, I look at it first as being one side of a coin to being a parent. When it comes to parenthood, there's a mother and a father. And so what my nephews asked me about was about the father side. But I believe that it's a complementary set where it comes with being a mother and a father. But as a male, I'm going to look at the father side for this particular episode. But to set the scope of what I'm talking about, from my perspective, a parent's role is provide the child with a safe environment that meets their physical, emotional, and social needs while preparing them to succeed in the world around them now and in the future. And so if we make a child, we need to raise a child to be successful in life. And that really is the whole role of a parent. The goal should be to, if you're going to have kids, raise them well, take care of them, and then prepare them to move on to have their own family or to move on to have a successful life. So when it comes to fatherhood, please understand, like I stated, I think that it takes two parents to raise a child. Now, depending on your household, that's going to look different. But I'll say with fatherhood, just in basic definition, a father, you could look at it as a male that impregnates a female and sires a child. And I call that the procreator. Pro meaning they got together and created a child. A male and a female got together and created a child. And this happens throughout nature, okay? The male animal, person, impregnates a female, the result, a child. And by definition, when that child is born, that male takes on a new title, father. Just like the mother is the new title of the female once she gives birth. And it's a beautiful and rich thing. It's a gift. It really is. But speaking of fatherhood, we continue. And I think you guys are getting my point that everyone has to work together on this. It's not like you can isolate just the females, just the males. But from the guys, again, my nephews ask me, it's like, what's the father thing? One is that you can be the procreator. You give life. All right. And people are very familiar with these guys, with men who give life. And for some, they are extremely gifted in this area. The scriptures in Genesis, it talks about being fruitful and multiply, and talk about replenishing the earth. And with that, it's always looked at as a positive thing to make babies. All right. And so one of the greatest things that a man can do as for a statue and rep and everything is they can be a father. They can make a baby. Okay. And so, you see the guys, chest sticking out and head held high, because it's like, yeah, my girl, I just had a baby. I got a son, I got a daughter. And there's just a lot of pride in that. And but they are a father because they have created life. And that is an amazing thing. And if you are a father, you know what it's like to meet your newborn child, that son or daughter. The most amazing thing ever, to have it grow inside of their mother's womb, and then to come into the world, and this little helpless little person that is cute in so many ways, and some of the dad, some of the mom, and some of that new person, and it's just a time of hope and excitement when a child enters the world. And for some guys, once that child is here, they're good. It's like, great, I've done my job, let's move on. And but they are indeed fathers in that they made the child. All right. And depending on your perspective and how you were raised and what society you're in and everything, you will have certain expectations of that man. And the expectations may range from saying thank you for the child, and then the mother will raise the child. May be that you would expect for the father to provide financial support for the child. And so as long as the guy is giving like child support or whatever, you're happy. It's like mother can raise the child, dad giving some financial support, great, we're happy. But as I stated when I began, this is my perspective, but I think that it's most healthy when both parents are present in that child's life. But having said that, that doesn't mean that he needs to marry, the male needs to marry the female, mom needs to marry dad, and they all live in the same house to raise this child. That may happen, and I think that is wonderful when it does happen. But that's not the only way to successfully raise a child. As long as the father is involved in that child's life and providing for that family, it's great. When I say providing for the family, that means that I'm contributing to the child's needs, money, okay, making sure they have a place to stay, etc. But also that it means for sometimes that, hey, I will be spending time with the child. Like, you don't just have become a father and then disappear. It's like there are actually things that men contribute to the development of a child. Initially, it's all about the women, okay? They're the ones who naturally, like, they have milk, okay? The nurturing, the touch, it's like they and that child are so closely connected. And the guy can help out, but that's about all they can do is help out. As the child grows, though, it becomes more independent. And in dealing with that independence, that's when the man plays a bigger role. And whether it's a male or a female child, the father is a role model to what other men, how they would see other men. They're a role model to see how you treat males and females. And so their presence is extremely important. The man may not live there, but as long as they spend good time with the child, they'll have a positive effect on it, or negative if it's a jerk. But the thing is, they can have a very positive effect on them. And just like with the mother, just her presence makes a difference. With the father, the same thing is true. The presence makes a difference. And the more you're around your child, the more affection you can have for this child and towards this child. And it means a lot when a child feels like they are important to their parents. And so with that, we've discussed the procreator, the guy who gets in and I made a baby. Okay, And yeah, that little boy, I made him. That little girl, I made her. Okay? And then there's another level where we actually talk about the provider. And providing, by provider, I don't mean you're giving child support. What I mean is that you're providing food, shelter, yes, but you're providing safety too, a safe environment for them. And if you're going to provide a safe environment for your child, that means most of the time you're going to be around that child, okay, or see that they're safe. But part of having a safe environment is not just safe physically, it's emotionally as well. And making sure that your child is taken care of emotionally, that there's a nurturing environment, that you're supportive of that child, that you are encouraging their personal growth. And that means helping them to learn how to think, how to deal with things. A guide provides certain skill sets to a child that I'm not talking about where they can get with their son and work on the car, even though that's important, working with tools and things like that. But the skills I'm talking about has to do with certain physical skills, emotional skills, social skills, and how we interact with each other, and seeing that model through your parents, both male and female. So it sounds like I'm doing fatherhood and motherhood, but I'm really focusing on fatherhood, guys. I really am. I'm trying. But there's so much that a father has to offer. And as a son, speaking as a son, I have looked to my father. That's where I learned my work ethic. That's where I learned about having standards and sticking to what you believe. This is not to say you couldn't learn that from the mother, but as a boy, I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to imitate that. And I saw and respected the way that he conducted his life. And I didn't agree with everything he did, everything he said, but I couldn't help but to respect the way he lived and the standards that he had. And that's something that I got from him. All right. My mother, different story. I mean, I got things from her, but she couldn't teach me how to be a man. She couldn't teach me how to treat women. She could tell me how a woman wants to be treated. But in my father, I actually saw what he did and how he did it. And sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't, but I learned from both. But there are certain things where it's like, when we would get out and do stuff like I mentioned, like maybe work on the car, or he had his toolbox and he loved his toolbox. And so I too love tools. Why? Because he loved his tools. And so I loved it, and he would go into depth about what this one does and how he would use it. And that would teach me things. And not just about the tools and what he was doing, but also how they related to life. And I'm telling you, I didn't have those conversations with my mother at no point, okay? Other than don't be leaving that hammer, screwdriver, whatever, laying around. Somebody hurt themselves. But it was simply a different skill set that he taught me. And again, the way he conducted himself. And the way he responded to, say, women pushing up on him, all right? And as a married man, how he responded. And respectfully, but at the same time, it's like, I'm taken. And he was still nice. But little lessons like that, fatherhood is just amazing. And so, but it's a matter of what you expect out of it. And just understanding that for some guys, if they make a baby, hey, touchdown. Life is good. Move on. All right. And for others, they want to be involved in that child's life to a great degree. And if you do, great. And it's good for the child as well. And you've will hear women say they don't need a man as far as the kids and stuff. And I think that on an individual basis, a woman doesn't need a man. That could be true. Okay, it's like, it's your life. If you don't want one, fine. But when it comes to children, that's how they're going to learn, by having a man in their life, about not just how to be a man if you're a boy, but with girls, what should my relationship be with men, and what should be allowable as far as the way I'm treated. And with a lot of young ladies, what you find is that certain young men, they're not good enough. Why? Because, well, my dad taught me that guys don't treat women that way. You got to treat them with some respect. And because, as you know, dads are very protective of their daughters. And they'll let the guy no good. All right, he ain't about nothing, and so you need to leave him alone. All right, if he's not going to step to you right, don't you have any thing to do with him. And with the guys, it's like, I see you like her and everything, but do you see qualities in her that would make her a good mother, a good wife? And planting those seeds helps a lot to help the children become more discerning. Again, as you get older, as the kids get older, they're going to have their own personalities, set their own goals and standards, but you get a chance to be the first ones to plant in that field. And they may change some things, but their foundation are going to be pretty solid based on what you shared, good or bad. So as far as this goes, fathers, 2 levels: procreator versus provider. And when I say provider, I'm talking about providing emotionally, socially, okay, and physically, which is a totally different level. And so you go in deciding, how will I be as a father? And that's before you go, getting sexually active and all that kind of stuff. You need to decide what responsibility you're willing to hold. Dads are great, okay? I can tell you that fatherhood is awesome. My kids are great. And I'll tell you how I measure that. My kids care about people and they care about themselves. And socially, they're involved with a lot of people, interact with a lot of people. But they're very much themselves. They have a very strong identity of self. And they treat people right. And to me, that's a success. They take care of themselves, take care of others. That's a success. Doesn't have anything to do with the kind of job they have or anything like that. They're all hard workers and very reliable when it comes to work. And as far as the professions, it's like I told them, it's like whatever you want to do. Because I want them to be happy in life and not live my dreams through them. It's like I want them to have their own dreams and goals and aspirations. And I'm so very, very proud of them. And I think that's how a father should be. If I'm wrong, I'll find out, but I'm quite pleased at this point. They're all adults, and I'm happy as can be. When I bring them up, I can't help but smile, because I still see the little kids, little babies and toddlers running around, the little pre-teeners and stuff like that, and them going through their horrible teen years. But as adults, it's like to see on the other side how it all comes together when they have to take responsibility for their own lives. That's pretty awesome. And I know that I contributed to the people that they have become. They're still becoming, but I say I've contributed to the people they become. And that feels really, 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 really good. And I'm thankful for my fathers. When I say fathers, it's not just your biological father. There are men that have been in my life who kind of filled it in a kind of a paternal role models for me, who stepped in when my dad wasn't around. And when I was away at school, or when I was on a job and they called me to a higher place, they challenged me to be a better person. I have nothing but love and respect for them. My different fathers, just like I have different mothers as well, who I go to for loving and support. But nephews, I hope that's good for fatherhood. We got a lot more we can talk about for real, individual situations. But you make babies, take care of the babies. All right, be involved. But the thing is, it's going to look different, and you need to know before you get with someone what they expect of you, and then and make sure they understand what you expect when it comes to parenting, and what role you're going to play. This is Michael with Peace and Favor, and as always, God bless.